The first job of government is to protect its citizens.
Absolutely.
And you protect its citizens by having fire and police. Those are the very first things that they're supposed to be funding.
Drink up with diamonds, me and my homies vibing. Stacks off in my pocket, cause we on the corner grinding. I'm in the candy pig, trunk whipping heavy, big bank on swole.
Welcome back to the third podcast of the Firewire. This episode of the Firewire podcast is brought to you by Frontline Fire Training Institute. If you're looking to level up your credentials from fire officer to fire inspector or pump operator on your schedule, this is it. They're veteran firefighters, owned, and every course in the state of Florida approved. No on-campus attendance, no busy work, just quality illustrated training that can earn early college credits. Plus, with risk-free enrollment, you've got nothing to lose.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of the podcast. We are very grateful to have the newly appointed CFO of the state of Florida, Blaise Ingoglia, with us. Thank you, sir. You look pretty sharp today.
It's because I have to go somewhere with you. And I know you have a suit laying around somewhere to get changed into.
I do. I didn't know you were coming up with a suit. I would have wore mine. So first, I think we want to talk about you in the new role. So how's it going so far? What do you have planned, going forward? Just kind of talk about what your agenda is. I know we have the CFO role, but you're also the state fire marshal. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can give us a little insight too of what firefighters in the state of Florida can look forward to.
Yeah, so I've been in the role now, I think about 4 weeks, and we've hit the ground running. I will tell you that I loved being a state rep and a state senator because I loved being in the legislative fight, standing up for the things that I believe in. I never thought I was going to love being in the cabinet, being part of the executive, but I am really liking the job and the ability to really make a difference. And it's been exciting. And I just look forward to continuing in this role. Some of the things that I'm working on, I'll give you the 3 things that I'm working on overall, and then I'll segue into some of the firefighter issues that are near and dear to my heart. The one thing is overall housing affordability. Affordability in the state of Florida is an issue. It is on everyone's minds, and I think there are things that we can do at the state level that can help mitigate some of that. There are things that we can't do on a macro level, like we cannot bring down the prices of homes because it is what it is.
Right.
Interest rates, we can't do anything with that. But taxes and insurance are some of the things that we can deal with. So the first thing is we are looking to offer substantive tax relief in the state of Florida. I'm going to be a champion on this, and I will get to fire and police in this discussion because I know people start asking, well, how can you offer tax relief without affecting fire and police? And I'm going to tell you exactly how. So property taxes are super high. I mean, even people who fire and police and people who work for government are experiencing high property taxes.
Right.
We've seen this happen in the 2000s where property taxes started taking off. We had a property tax revolt. People were getting thrown out of office who were raising taxes. And we're seeing something similar right now. So there is going to be a constitutional amendment on the ballot to do either one of 2 things. The governor and I would love to get rid of property taxes on homesteaded properties altogether. Most people don't realize that property taxes, more than half of them are being paid by everyone other than homesteaded properties. So there's an opportunity for us there. Or at the very least, there's going to be a large new homestead exemption. Okay. So that is one of our big issues to try to make sure that we drive home the need for property tax relief, make sure it gets on the ballot, and then become cheerleaders for that. Now, before I get to 2 and 3, I want to address first responders with that. County governments always have this reflexive, a pushback whenever they hear they want to cut property taxes. Like, well, we're going to lose fire and we're going to lose police.
Right.
That's a bunch of crap. It's talking points. They use it to try to keep their own little fiefdom together at county governments or cities. The first job of government is to protect its citizens.
Absolutely.
And you protect its citizens by having fire and police. Those are the very first things that they're supposed to be funding, not something that's up for consideration to be cut. So when I hear them say that, I'm like, no, stop your crap. We know that's not true and it's not accurate. So stop scaring people into keeping the level of taxation that you have going right now. They always argue with you guys. They always argue with sheriffs and police during budget times. And it was like, hey, we can't give you this because of X, Y, and Z. And we're just like, no, if you did the budgeting right, you wouldn't even be having this conversation. So that segues into the second part, which is what we're doing right now, doging, or what I like to call FAFOing, local governments. Look, the bottom line is local governments over the last 4 years post-COVID, their general fund budgets, the portions that are funded by property taxes, have grown anywhere between 60 to 120%. So what happened is COVID money came down and local governments either added programs or expanded programs and or given people within county government some like really egregious raises. And what's happened is they gave that out knowing that at some point that the gravy train was going to end.
Right, the well was going to dry up.
But they got lucky. They got lucky because property values started rising, property taxes started coming in. Government's like, oh, look, we don't have to end these programs. Look at all this money coming in. In fact, they said, you know what? Let's double down. Let's add more programs, expand more programs, and give out even more raises.
Feel like they're getting more for less.
Yeah. So it says because property taxes will never end. Not thinking that a short 20 years ago or 15 years ago, there was a property tax revolt over the same exact thing. So that's where we have some opportunity, and that's where we're looking to Doge. And I'm not a huge fan of it's just for people listening, Doge stands for Department of Government Efficiency. I prefer FAFO, which stands, you guys know what FAFO stands for, right?
I think so.
No, it's not what you're thinking. It's Florida Agency for Fiscal Oversight. So FAFOing these local governments because government should grow at inflation plus population growth. So when you look at that and you compare it to what their budgets actually were, it's much, much higher. So we're going in, we're pulling audits, and we're showing these examples of egregious and wasteful spending because they're going to go and say, hey, we have to cut fire in these cities. And we're like, no, you don't. You can cut that wasteful spending right there. So that's what we're doing. We've been doing these all around the state.
Right.
We're going to continue doing it around the state. I have broad constitutional authority to do this. In fact, if they don't comply, I actually also have subpoena authority. I can subpoena them, I can depose them, and get to the bottom of where all this wasteful spending is. Nobody's attacked local government spending like I have. I did it in the mid-2000s. We're doing it now. And the last part of that is homeowners insurance. We have had, if you remember, 4 years ago, the homeowners insurance market was on the verge of collapse.
Yep.
Companies were going bankrupt. People were left holding the bag. You would have storms come through. Companies would get wiped out, and then the insurance companies would have to go into receivership, and it was an absolute mess. So we had a bunch of litigation reform that's really changed the marketplace. We have a bunch of companies coming in, writing. They're creating competition. For the first time in a long time, rates are actually starting to come down. We're seeing it more profoundly in auto rates right now, on average around 6.5%, with some auto companies reducing at 11.5%. Homeowners policies, we're seeing it come down. It's not as pronounced, but it's continuing. But we need to make sure that we do more at the state level. And one of the things I'm going to be doing is making sure that we're holding these. Now that we've created the market where we're actually starting to see fixes, We want to make sure that insurance companies don't game the system and stop paying out claims. They need to do what they're contractually obligated to do. So we're going to make sure. So those are the three big ticket items. But as far as firefighters are concerned, I want to make sure that, and firefighters have always held a special place in my heart, as all first responders. I was helpful with getting PTSD coverage at the state level. I was the sponsor and helped get the cancer coverage. But with that, one of my initiatives, I might be breaking a little bit of news here, is I want to get every firefighter in this state screened for lung cancer. I love that. But I don't, look, you guys are busy. I don't want you guys like traveling. I want to bring mobile facilities to your firehouses. So this way there's no excuses. Because I don't think lay people understand just how prevalent the issue is with lung cancers and the toxins that you guys are able to not only breathe in but absorb in through the skins. That's an issue. And firefighter and first responder suicides. Yep. It's getting to epidemic proportions.
I think those are the two biggest things that we face, in the fire service today is cancer and PTSD suicides. A lot of people don't understand that most departments don't have, an occupational health program where they take in-depth looks and do real cancer screenings on their firefighters. We're lucky here in Pasco County. A couple years ago, we started that initiative, and since then we've caught 7 cancers, all in stage 1. Just surgery, no radiation, no chemo. And it's important. I mean, it's cost savings for the employer as well to catch these cancers early and to not have someone show up at stage 3, stage 4. We had a brother of ours, Jason Tucker, who passed away from glioblastoma. And that was really tough. But to kind of see our department's reaction and to see how now they're screening everybody from head to toe, looking for cancer. It is the number one killer in the fire service. 10 years ago, they said it was cardiovascular, right? We had a lot of hypertension, cardiac issues, but it is clear that it is cancer, especially with the PFAS that's in our gear, the combustibles that are inside these homes. You walk into these superheated areas, your skin pores open up, and now you're just absorbing everything. So I love that that's one of your initiatives. Like you said, you've been an advocate for firefighters since the beginning, since you first took office.
And while we're on that point, when you were a legislator, but you took the cancer bill and you dug into that thing. You dug into it, you grabbed it, and you would not let it go.
Right.
What pushed you so much for that, to give you that love to the firefighters that you did? Because you showed a remarkable courage to attack what you did, when you did, and how you did it.
Yeah, at that time it wasn't, I guess, politically expedient to push that bill. Even though we all love our first responders, there was a lot of institutional pushback by cities, counties, and said that this is going to be too much. And two things that I realized, and one would have made me a hypocrite if I would have said no, is that as an employer, the people who work for me are like family to me. I want to make sure that I do everything that I can for them. And I go out of my way to make sure that they're comfortable. Like, my office never has to ask me for raises. I give them raises. I give them bonuses because I want to make sure that they're taken care of. But that means you're taking care of them. If the city or county has you guys of employees and you guys are putting yourself at risk where you guys are getting lung cancer, we need to take care of you. And them not wanting to do that was, quite frankly, pissing me off. I was like, nope, this is the wrong thing. If you're going to care about your employees, you need to care about this issue and you need to get it done. So that made me pretty angry. The second part was a knowledge base. Most people don't understand, you guys do clearly, but most lay people in the state and even some legislators don't understand that fighting fires today is not like fighting fires 40 years ago.
Absolutely.
Right? Bigger, blacker, more toxic.
Yeah. I mean, so when they have this thought of a house burning down, what do you see? You see, the timber, the trusses, the wood, all burning, and then you don't have and then you have the outside structure if it's block, and they just think that's what happens. They needed an understanding that I had, that the things that are burning, the petrochemicals, that's cancerous stuff.
Right.
And now we're asking you guys to go in and ingest it, absorb it into your body, and then we're not going to take care of you on top of it. So that knowledge base, I think, helped tremendously.
Yeah, and I think, that point right there could lead us into what you were talking about earlier about when we're looking at DOJ and making sure that spending is going towards public safety. When we look at, the type of fires that we have today versus 40 years ago, from incipient stage to flashover, it's 5 minutes now versus where in your older construction and older materials, we were looking at 18. So
failure rates, burn rates, smoke rates.
It's all of it. It takes the cancer argument and also making sure that you're staffed appropriately, you have the appropriate amount of stations to make sure that your citizens are safe. It's a whole lot easier when you have 18 minutes from beginning to end for a fire, right? To get there and get people on scene. Well, nowadays we're looking at 5 minutes. So we need more stations, more people, more crews, and we need the protection for the cancer presumption bill, for what we're dealing with.
I think, especially here in Pasco, we were touched by what was done. And we had a firefighter, Jason Tucker, that died, and he had brain cancer. And that bill came right about the same time it was. So for, your tenacity, the way that you fought, I'd like to give you this challenge coin in memory of Tucker.
Oh, this is sweet.
So a little token for thank you for what you did to make things right for all firefighters in the state of Florida. And I think that, the kind of segue is that set the groundwork for, like what you said, for us to get the PTSD, for us to get the mental health bills that have come in for this year in the legislation with, the updating the firefighter Bill of Rights to, make sure that we're being taken care of. Never before did you ever think that, people always said, oh, politicians don't care. I think that this state has one of the most unique situations with politicians because you guys have shown our first responders, fire, police, nurses, teachers, everybody is got a voice with legislation, and you guys have proved it.
Yeah, we could look at just the Senate Bill 1212 you were an advocate for this year, the Firefighter Health and Safety Bill, the recommendation of a 42-hour work week. That's groundbreaking nationwide. There's so many studies out there right now that are tying shift work and sleep deprivation directly to cancer. So to be able to reduce the work week that firefighters are working, from a 56-hour work week plus all the mandatory overtime that you're working, that it was a huge benefit. There were a lot of people that were against that bill, including the Florida Fire Chiefs Association. But to see your advocacy for it, other members of the legislation, it's a blessing to work as a firefighter in the state of Florida and to be a first responder here, knowing that we have support in Tallahassee for what we do on a daily basis.
And don't forget about Senator Hooper.
Absolutely.
Hooper,
absolutely
all of you guys.
instrumental in a lot of this stuff.
I think that's what I mean. The team is amazing. Like the fact that you guys are working across the aisle, working together to make sure all of this is happening, it's a godsend because we've never had that. For years, you look back at what Florida firefighting was, and, Petronas came into office and made a huge difference. I think a lot of people were scared when they, during that time is when it changed, when it went from the Bureau of Fire Standards and it went under the CFO position, and people were worried about, like, how is this going to be? And I think he took off, and then you stepping in because of your history, it's going to excel.
I appreciate that. We're going to try. We're going to try hard. We always cared about the firefighters. This just gives us an opportunity to continue that.
Yeah, I love it. I know you got to be somewhere. I know it's getting close to that time. Anything else that you want to give us today other than a go Mets?
Oh Lord, I just really we went there.
I'm a Yankees fan too. I just had to say it because I know.
Well, it could have been worse.
I
You
know
could have
Todd
said go
back there.
Rangers. I grew up an Islander fan. So even today, when I see Mark Messier on TV, on TNT, I literally throw stuff, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I hate that man." So, but look, we can commiserate. The Yankees and the Mets both suck.
Yes.
So-
It's been a rough year. It's getting
I mean, if we're
swept by the
talking-
Marlins is
If
rough.
we are talking sports, let's talk sports. Aaron Boone, if there's any Yankee fans, transplanted New Yorkers down here, we need to fire that guy. Oh, my God, he is horrible.
I was talking to one of my buddies. He's a Yankee fan, too. And I'm like, Boone is still living off of that home run in Game 6 against the
is.
Sox back in 0-1. It's, I don't know. I'm with you. There needs to be a change. There definitely needs to be a change.
I've never seen a manager so absolutely disconnected
Yes.
from what look, I used to play baseball. Played high school baseball. I played college ball. Didn't play much, but I played enough to say I played college ball because I wasn't very good. But just looking at some of that stuff, I'm just like, this is a horrible team.
Yeah.
I mean, just if they didn't have Aaron Judge,
Yep.
where would that team be? And everyone's just like, look what they did last year. I'm like, look, you had Juan Soto. I mean, if you have Aaron Judge and Juan Soto and you're hitting and you're scoring 10, 11 runs a game, you're going to beat a lot of teams.
Right.
You're going to like gloss over the fact that you absolutely suck.
Right.
And that's where we are. And look, I grew up a Jet fan. So just like talk about suck.
Justin Fields this year, I mean, I still have faith in Justin Fields. I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, look, he's still playing for the Jets, and I don't have faith in the Jets. I'm like, an 8-8 season is just because last time we were good, Mark Sanchez was the quarterback, and that was the butt fumble year. I'm like, give me a break.
Maybe Aaron Glenn can bring some of that grit from Detroit, over there, and those solid years become, a distant memory here. Hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's just, but I'm a Lightning fan, so there's that.
There you go.
So I get to take a couple wins, although the Panthers won, which I was happy. Yeah. I did a press conference talking about sports in Gainesville.
Okay.
And I'm
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, right. I was going to say.
FSU guy?
Oh, yeah. Both of us.
Hey, look at the time. I got to go. So I'm in Gainesville, and we're getting ready to Doge or FAFO them. And this was, I think, maybe right before I was sworn in or right after I was sworn in. Okay. It was one of the two. And the governor is a huge, huge sports fan. Did I mention that I was at the championship game when the Gators won the national championship in basketball?
They're a basketball school.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
What's basketball?
In there.
Florida State had the COVID year. They were going to win the national championship that season, but it got stolen from them. That's I'm going to stand on that.
So actually, I'm going to regress. So before I get to the part of talking about the press conference, when I gave my going away speech in the Florida House, I want to say it was the girls' volleyball team or lacrosse team was in the gallery. And right before I started, I just said, because I'm just a jokester, I just said, I just want to personally thank you with all of my heart for being in the presence of an FSU team that actually wins something. In a room full of Seminoles. But I'm in Gainesville, and I get up there, and I said, what's weird is now I'm a statewide cabinet member. I can't pick and choose who I root for because I'm supposed to root for the home team, and the home team is Florida.
Right.
I'm like, I'm a Lightning fan. I was rooting for the Panthers, and this is right after the Panthers won their second Stanley Cup this year. It was second in a row. I said that, I grew up a Yankee fan, and it was like, I want the Marlins to do well. I want the Rays to do well. I grew up a Knick fan, although I don't watch basketball. I want the Heat to do well, and I want Orlando to do well. But let me tell you this. I'm a diehard Gator, and I am never rooting for freaking FSU ever. And I did that in Gainesville. So sorry, brother.
No, it's okay. I lived it my whole life. Everybody in my family's Florida. My uncle played football there. My dad went to school there. My sisters went to school there. The black sheep. I'm the Florida State guy.
So all of them are unemployed?
No, they're all.
I'm just playing.
they're
I'm just
all Florida
playing.
guys. I couldn't wear a Florida State hat at my uncle's house until '93 when they won the national championship.
Charlie Ward year. I was in New York City, lived in Queens. That was an amazing team. Yeah. And Charlie Ward, what a talent that guy is.
And then to go play basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he played for the
Knicks.
Knicks. So I got to.
He just got hired as FAMU's basketball coach. Did you see that?
No, I did not see that.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Maybe we can get to see Charlie Ward around the.
Around the Capitol.
That'd be
pretty cool.
That would be cool.
So as we finish this up, where do you see Florida firefighting going?
Continuing to. You're talking about the firefighters or the legislature as a.
As firefighters, now that you're the chief, that's kind of look at it as the fire chief. You're the CFO. You're in charge of the fire department, the bureau. You're our new chief.
I think we need to continue looking at the issues, especially safety issues and mental health issues, and continue to push the envelope and make sure that we're taking care of people. Look, I'm not writing the legislation anymore. All I can be is an advocate.
Right.
So, and I will continue to be an advocate.
And we all know that you're a strong voice.
We are. Yes.
And you're, in our eyes, you're the best person for the position, no question about it. And you'll be the best person for that position until you decide to do something else. We need a CFO that is a strong advocate for firefighters throughout the state. We saw, the Green Bucket Initiative with Jimmy Petronas when he was a CFO. Now we're talking about the lung cancer screenings. We need to keep that going. And I know that it's near and dear to your heart and that you're going to keep pushing for us. And we just want to thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So before we wrap up, we just want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Frontline Fire Training Institute. Whether you're after fire officer, inspector, or pump operator certification, they've got state of Florida approved courses you can take anytime, anywhere, no classroom required. We want to thank you, Blaise, for coming and joining us today. Hopefully we have a good time tonight. We'll see. Hopefully the protesters don't stop us from getting in the building. But once again, just want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come sit down and talk with us and talk to all the firefighters throughout the state of Florida.
One last thing.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Go Gators. Sorry.
Go Noles.
Go Noles. Go
Noles.
Noles.
Stay tuned. Coming up next is the Union Corner.
Now it's time for the Union Corner, where we discuss everything that's going on in the department and within the union.
Yeah, so we've had a lot kind of going on. It's been about a month since our last episode. We finalized our promotion process for the D shift. Congratulations to all the captains, drivers, EMS supervisors that were promoted. The one thing that I'd say is that this promotional test specifically just seemed to go like flawlessly. A lot of good reviews of the scoring, same day grading. There were no grievances, which is a huge win for us. It was just very successful. So all of our promotions are done for D shift.
I think it's a great testament to those that helped out with the process because, again, you saw the date come out, the people tested, and then all of a sudden the list dropped, and it was like you didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
You usually hear the mother and the rumors, all that. Like you alluded to, there was no grievances. I think that the promotional committee did a great job. And everyone that they've done since has gotten better and better and better. And that's a testament to all the hard work of the people on that committee.
Absolutely.
And to the department working together to make sure things are getting done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a list come out as fast as it did, as this one. So, like you said, it's a testament to the promotional committee, their commitment to this process and also administration and just getting the list out. List came out and a week later they were making the promotions. That's another thing, too, is as we talk about the transition to D shift, and knowing that we are going to have a lack of seniority in some of those, promoted positions, getting their feet wet, having them sitting in the seat, several months before we get in the D shift, just to make sure that, our service delivery is up to the expectations when we do transition over to D shift. The next one, obviously, we have our 9/11 golf tournament coming up next month. That came out last week. The registration process, I mean, we sold out almost immediately. There were a lot of people kind of upset, and that's understandable. We only can fit so many teams on the golf course. And the fact that we sold out as quickly as we did, I think is just a testament to the success that this event has been, every single year. I believe this is the third year that we're going to put it on. I know that we've had some discussions too about how do we how do we bring more people into the event? How do we allow more teams? So, for everyone listening, if you weren't able to get in this year, just know that we're actively working on a solution for next year. We don't know what that's going to look like at this time, but we're working on it. We're trying to figure out a solution to the problem. We want as many people as possible to be involved and be able to play in this tournament because it is such a great event.
Again, be assured, we are looking at every option. We're discussing it. We're focus right now is on this tournament, and when this tournament ends in October, we start planning for next year. So we're going to look at every option we have, and we're going to do what's best for our members. And we might do something where a member only. We might do something where we have 2 member only, and then the sponsor tournament. But there's so many different options, and we're going to get together. We're going to work. If you want to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers for the golf tournament. Please reach out to Captain Stanforth at 12. He'd love to hear from you. We can use all the help we can get with the tournament.
Yeah, and I think everybody that's volunteered in the past, especially last year, they loved it. So many people that volunteered, being on the golf carts, just riding around and razzing everybody that's out there playing. They've signed up to come back this year just because they had such a good time. And then really the camaraderie that happens after, right? You play your round of golf, and then we're all at the bar eating food. It's just a great time, great event.
Great fellowship.
Absolutely. The other one, we had our support pay plan. So we had negotiated an increase in our support pay plan because it had an opener for the third year. That was successful. That passed unanimously with 0 no votes, which is huge. So that was good. As we're getting closer, obviously the projected implementation date for D-Shift is going to be January 25th of 2026. We currently have a new hire class of 29. We just had our union presentation with them yesterday. Happy to say that 100% of this new hire class signed up again. And I don't think we've had a new hire class recently that we didn't get 100% sign up. So it just kind of shows, the way that this department is moving. People are recognizing that it's a combined effort between union and administration, and that people, support, they believe in what we do as a union organization.
I think to that too, what was intriguing yesterday was seeing the amount of people that have come from other departments.
Yep.
We are drawing from other places. There's 4 from one department, 1 from this department, 1 from that department, 1 from this department. The fact that we're starting to draw because people are saying we like where you're at and we want to be there,
right,
is a testament to what everybody's doing.
Right. And like we talked about, in our first episode with Chief Gwynn and Mr. Murphy when they were on here, we talk about Pasco, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and how it was a stepping stone department, right? Pasco County was a training grounds for Tampa Fire, Hillsborough, St. Pete, whoever it may be. And now we're starting to recruit and attract other firefighters, senior firefighters, and firefighter paramedics, which, that's the gold standard, right, is bringing firefighter paramedics into your organization. So the fact that we're able to draw the amount of people that we're getting to come to this department is awesome. The experience that we're bringing in the door, it's going to make Pasco County safer.
And I think it's also going to make our employees at 100%.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to come to work with a clean mind and a clean conscience. And when you do that, you're going to give a good day's work.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the motto of what the office is right now. We want to make sure that we have the best person at work every day to give 100% so we get the best out of you.
Absolutely. You see that in everything that we do, right? Not just the D shift, but everything that we talked about, with Chief J.J. Martinez in our second episode. We're doing a really good job in Pasco County, kind of hitting, all the points that we see deficiencies, in throughout the entire fire service. It seems like that we're doing very well trying to be in front of the issues before they really affect home. We have one more new hire class before the D shift begins. Interviews were held this past week, so I'm sure they're going to start sending out offers in the next week or two. So we're excited to get them in the door, and then start this D shift. If you go to our new website, we have our new website that is up and active, and we have a countdown clock on D shift. It's an exciting time to be working for Pasco County Fire Rescue.
It's like that kid waiting for Christmas every year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking on D shift, we do have our bid process is currently open. We have the second round for captains, first round for drivers going on right now. So far, that seems to be successful. There's no matter what, change is uncomfortable, right? There's always going to be little bumps in the road. I know a lot of people have been, paying attention to their emails and seeing memo after memo after memo coming out And it seems like that every memo is a little different. Well, there's a reason for that, right? It's because when something comes out and then issues come up, we work together to try and fix those issues. It's a moving process. So, but so far it seems to be successful. All of our special operations trucks are staffed already for D shift. We just had our driver interviews for the special operations trucks that are for the ladder positions on D shifts. And then we're going to open up for the firefighter positions here shortly. I think that email just came out the other day. Overall, I think we're moving in the right direction. It seems like, we knew this D shift process, there are going to be little bumps in the road, but nothing is coming up to kind of take this, to derail this train. So we're moving towards D shift. Like I said, it might be a little uncomfortable, as we get closer. We look at the stations and the locker situation and refrigerator situation, that kind of stuff. But the good thing is that we have a commitment from the county and from administration that we're going to address these issues as they come up. So, overall, I think we're doing pretty well.
Yeah, I saw the memo yesterday that the county selected a vendor for the new uniforms,
Yep.
MES, and that they're doing something that we haven't done before. Is they're actually going to come in and let you be sized. So there's a memo out there. You check in your county email. You can go. They're going to have 3 different dates. I believe they're going to be at Station 9 on an A shift, a B shift, and a C shift, and it'll be at Station 18 for 2 days. So if you're worried about how their uniforms fit or what they have, you can stop by, check them out, on duty, off duty, and kind of see where you fit. So that way, when you go to order, you know what fits, what doesn't. Because I know that was one of the problems before is people would order stuff, it didn't fit, and it took long to get. Now, I guess we reached out to Prince George County, and they've been very happy with the success of what they've gotten. I think the longest order there was like 2 weeks, which would be a huge accomplishment, improvement for us. So make sure you check that email, and if you're curious about that, make sure you go by one of those days and get sized and looked at and see what you like.
Yep. And, as we're coming up to hurricane season, obviously we see there's a storm out there right now, Hurricane Aaron. It does look like it's going to completely miss the state, but just a reminder that as we get, closer, further into the fall, it is hurricane season. So make sure that you're prepared. Everyone listening at home, have your batteries, your unperishable foods, for
your hurricane kits.
Yep. For our members, make sure that you have, your inflatable mattresses, all your sets of clothes ready to go, just in case, we do get called in and we're going to be there for an extended days. Hopefully this year, the past couple of years, we've kind of gotten hit pretty hard. Hopefully this year, nothing comes to our area. It's kind of a shitty thing to wish for, right? Because if you don't catch it, someone else is. But, just want to remind all of our members to be prepared. And, and as we talk about that, I know that there's a conversation kind of going on right now at the state level to, increase the statewide emergency response. So, we're actively engaged in those conversations, trying to see what that means for us here in Pasco County. It's always been my stance that, we have the best firefighters in the state. Our special operations division is the top of the top. They are the tip of the spear. And, we should showcase those individuals. So we're actively engaged in the conversations and see what we can kind of do to make sure that our special operations team is able to respond, throughout the entire state and also throughout places, other states in the country. So we're working on that. Hopefully we have, some exciting news in a couple months, so we'll see what that process holds and how it goes. You got anything else? Anything that we missed?
No, I think that we keep moving the bar. The bar is being set, and we keep moving it higher. I think that we've got a great relationship with the office that when these little hiccups happen, we're able to communicate with them and move that bar or say, hey, this isn't where it needs to be. What can we do to get there? And we're working hard with them to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm going to give a shout out to one of our chiefs, Chief Dave Mingle. On his day off, I'm calling him and he's answering. Actually, I was talking to him earlier and he's like, oh, no, I'm just waxing my car in the garage. What he got? So, they work with us, great. They want to do what's in the best interest for the people in the field. And I think that's the most important when you look at those positions specifically. It's very easy for someone to get into that role and kind of forget where they came from. And like we've said before, we have a great relationship and it's a testament to them and the fact that they didn't forget where they came from and they put their money where their mouth is and it's important. So,
and with that, I was humbled since our last podcast because our guys have been working their tails off. There's been some pretty serious calls. There's been quite a few fires. And these guys have been doing nothing but a jam-up job.
Yep.
I mean, everybody's working hard. We've had a lot of positive success and outcomes because of the great work and the training that our crews are doing. The captains are out there making sure that everybody's on the same page. The crews are working hard together. We've had CISM that stepped in. They've done an amazing job. Captain Edwards is on point with that, and you've seen the success of it here recently. They're making sure that they're staying on top of things. So it's a well-oiled machine right now. We're doing a great job, and we're getting things done, and the guys are working hard, and you guys are doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah,
you're right. And, in talking about the fires, I think there's one specifically that we need to highlight, right? And that was the one, I believe it was on A shift, Station 1, 4 o'clock in the morning, get a call of a structure fire with people trapped, right? They get on scene, obvious working fire, heavy smoke with, 2 victims trapped, one of them being a pediatric on the second floor. And that crew made an aggressive interior attack, rescued those 2 victims. They were bay flighted out, and happy to say that that they've been discharged from the hospital. So just a great outcome. It just speaks to the level of firefighters that we have in this county, the level of training that we have in this county, the standard that we have in this county. And for the normal everyday citizen, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, put 100 pounds of gear on, and walk into 600 plus degrees, and pull 2 people out, and it's something that the normal human can't do, right? So to be able to do it successfully is a testament, to them, to that crew, and to this department and the way they set us up for success. So, we've had some pretty, like you said, some pretty heavy fire here in the last month, and we've had some really good outcomes. So that's always positive. Those are stories that you don't hear very often. So when you do hear them, when they do happen, you have to highlight them.
The back to school campaign was a huge success too.
Huge success, yeah.
Huge success. Saw a lot of pictures and camaraderie on social media, and it looked like all the crews that participated gave 110%. And I know the community, you could see the smiles on the kids' faces, and shout out the community risk for everything that they're doing to make that successful. And just it's a great moment to be here. Proud to be a member.
Yep.
There's a lot of great things we're doing on all aspects, all fronts. Keep being you guys. You guys are working hard. You keep doing what you're doing. Know that we got your back, and know that we're supporting you. And if you have any concerns, reach out to us. Let us know.
Absolutely, you're the reason why we do this. So, all right, we'd like to wrap up episode 3 of the Firewire podcast. Just a reminder. Check out Frontline Firefighter Training Institute at their address, www.myfireclass.com, sponsor of episode 3. So if you have any driver, fire officer, investigator classes, make sure you check out. Once again, it's Frontline Fire Training Institute at www.myfireclass.com.
Remember to like, subscribe, and share. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at thefirewirepodcast@gmail.com. That's thefirewirepodcast@gmail.com.
See you all next time.